Hello, everyone. Welcome to this live session. Giving everyone a minute to get on board, say hello in chat. Welcome and thank you so much for attending today's very special live stream with Priest Premraja, Swami Premraja, and we're going to talk today about this special full moon that happens in May. It is a time where the full moon is a time every month that we have an opportunity to meet with this abundant energy. And at Pillai Center, we've talked a lot about the things you can do on full moons. Full moons are opportunities of abundant energy. And so whatever you pray for on a full moon day is a really significant way of calling in extra powers. So on full moon days, a lot of divine beings, angels, saints, siddhas are coming to the earth plane to really help and support us. Dr. Pillai has said that whatever you do in terms of your meditation practice is multiplied and your prayers are magnified. So if any day during the month you're going to do a practice for abundance, it's the full moon. And we've talked a lot about Shreem Brzee. Shreem Brzee is the perfect mantra meditation to be doing on full moons. Full moons are typically associated with Goddess Lakshmi and anything having to do with abundance. But even outside of abundance, the full moon has this extra power to it that gives us a doorway to use so that we can have extra benefits. And like I said, multiplying our benefits and magnifying our blessings. So this particular full moon, the one that's happening in May this year, is called Chitra Purnima, or Chitra full moon. And we're going to find out why it's so special and what exactly you can do on this day to make the most of it, because it really does just happen once per year. So Premraja, thank you so much for being with us here today. Welcome.
Thank you for having me here. Namaste, Lakshmi.
Namaste. So kind of bring us to the beginning. So why is this particular full moon, like celestially speaking, planetary speaking, why is this one special?
Every full moon is special, as you mentioned earlier. And as you said, bring us to the beginning. And we are in the beginning. This is the beginning of the Vedic year. And this is the first solar month. In Tamil, we call it Chittirai. And with regards to astrology, we call this the Mesha Masa in the solar calendar. And so in this month of Chittirai, the first Paurnami, and the Tamil name gets it from the lunar calendar, Chaitra Masa. And so we call this Chittirai. And the Chitra Nakshatra overlaps with the full moon. And so that's why we call it the Chitra Purnima. And there are many mythological events and significances behind this. And because of those, this day is believed to be very special.
Fantastic. So basically it's the first full moon of the Vedic or Tamil New Year. So we get to kind of bring this new energy with us into the new year. And as you mentioned, it's when the full moon overlaps with Chitra. And so tell us a little bit more about Chitra, why this is important.
Chitra Nakshatra has the Adhidevata called Tvashta. And we mentioned how every nakshatra, every star has a deity, has an archetype, who holds the power within. And so Chitra Nakshatra has the archetype called Tvashta. And Tvashta is a very interesting god. He's mentioned in Rig Veda many times, and he is known to be the first creation of Vishwakarma. So in one realm, that's how we need to understand this. We cannot say that this is what it applies for all the planes of existence. In one form of existence, in one realm, it is believed that the first creation was a being called Vishwakarma. And this person is believed to be the one who builds. He's a great architect, the divine architect he is known as. And so Vishwakarma begins the creation of this beautiful, beautiful planet Earth. And the first being he creates is Twashta. And Twashta then also becomes a mighty weapon master, if I may say. He becomes even a weapon master. He forges the weapons of Indra and all the demigods. And so he attains a very celestial state. But Twashta is believed to be the god archetype who plays as the overlord for Chitra Nakshatra. And because of the beginning of who he is, and he's one of the main beings who was created. And because of his immense power to rise and to succeed in his being. And that makes Chitra Nakshatra very special. Chitra Nakshatra also is mentioned various times in many kind of Vedas. And Chitra Nakshatram Bhavati Chitram va etat karma. This is from the Krishna Yajurveda. It even mentions about how the Chitra Nakshatra is celebrated during the first full moon of the year, etc., etc. It's mentioned many a times. And so this Chitra Purnami, astrologically speaking, it is the combination of Chitra Nakshatra and the full moon, and it is once again the time to manifest. We just came back from Akshaya Tritiya, manifesting a lot of things, and now it's another opportunity for us to manifest a lot of abundance.
Right. Great. Thank you for that. Now, what about the Chitragupta? So from what what I've learned from Dr. Pillai, Astravad Pillai Center over the years, one of the most significant parts of, or aspects, I should say, of this particular day is that Chitragupta, as is considered the he records the deeds that we've done and stores them in these records, these heavenly or Akashic records. And this day is significant for him because well, you tell me why, because what I understand is that on this day, he's collected all our records, so he knows past lives and this life and everything that's happened. And then what we get on this day is special access to him. And this is a day where we get to say, hey, I did all these things, but I really want to make amends here. And this is if we acknowledge kind of what we've done or haven't done in our dharma, in our practice, in our life, and we do good on this day, it acts as this special bonus to be able to be wronging our rights, for example, or kind of changing the record or starting to rewrite our record in a new powerful way. Tell us a little bit more about Chitragupta, who he is, and this story.
Well, it's a beautiful thing that you asked about Chitragupta. I was talking about Chitra Purnami. Let us not forget that it is much celebrated in the southern part of India with regards to Madurai, where the marriage of Shiva and Parvati happens, in that place, in Muruga and all of those things. Let us not forget that, and we'll definitely get back to that. But answering your question about Chitragupta, Chitragupta is believed to be the assistant of the god of death, who is Yama, and he's the bookkeeper, and he protects all the deeds done by human beings. Manushyanam, Punyapapanam, Punyapapa Chitranam, Gopanam Rakshanam. And that's why he's given the name Chitra Gupta. Chitra here means an actual visual, or more like a visual way of protecting all the papas, all the good and the bad deeds done by human beings. And he's the one who protects that. And so he makes sure that people don't get to see the past, the future, or know many of the things. So they don't get to make any changes. And so he's the one who protects that. And he also makes sure that nobody is misjudged in front of the god of death. And so he which is
very important. Obviously, the god of death is the one at the end of our life who is ultimately judging, I'm assuming, where we're going and what's happening next in our continuum of our soul. So really important that we have the accuracy of what he's reviewing at that important time.
Absolutely. And so Chitragupta gets his name because, just like the picture that you're looking at, he wears an attire that's filled with colors. Chitra here means a mixture of colors, right? And so he's Chitratamaha is what we call him, because he has various colors in his attire and his look. And so he's a very colorful person, colorful being. And so Chitra. The word Chitra also means, all the karmas, all the good and the bad karmas. And so Gupta purely means protection, or as a preserving, etc., etc. So he preserves, he protects, and he completely keeps everything as a secret of all the actions that have been done in one's lifetime. And so there are many communities in the dharmic society. So one community who believe that Chitragupta, is superior to many other demigods. They celebrate Chitragupta Jayanti today. On that day, Chitra Purnima, on that day, the Kayastha community celebrate the birth of Chitragupta. Chitragupta was born from Kamadhenu, the goddess, who has the form of, both the cow and the face of a goddess. And so from Kamadhenu was Chitragupta born. And so on that day, people, do not consume, milk or anything that is, from any dairy products. They do not consume to pay homage to both Kamadhenu and Chitragupta.
I see. And also, Kamadhenu, as Dr. Pillai has spoken about, is the wish-fulfilling cow, or this blend of this goddess and with this cow body, who can grant us boons and give us wishes. So how auspicious that this being was birthed from her.
Yes. And so coming back to Chitragupta and who he is and etc. Chitragupta, Chitratamaha, as I mentioned earlier, he's a very colorful being. And on this day, people make prayers so that they do not perform. They acknowledge their past karma, as you mentioned very clearly, very beautifully. They acknowledge their past karma, and they, begin this new year, this new full moon, and they begin all their good deeds on this day. And there is a lot of dhanam that is done to relieve them of all the bad karma, because what happens is that, sanchita, prarabdha, and agami karma, because of the sanchita karma of the past, from the karma that we carry from the past lives, etc., it keeps coming back like waves and waves of things that keeps on challenging us, and that gives us more challenges. And so for them to stop, and for those sanchita karma and all of the karma from the past lives to stop and to not give us more challenges, and for us to seamlessly move towards success, people make prayers. And that's why we do many prayers. And one of the prayers is this. And so today dhanam is given, just like Akshaya Tritiya, in which I suggested charities to be one of the main things to do on that day. On Chitra Purnima, the Kayastha community especially, they perform a lot of charities, and everybody can. Just a bowl of water, just a bowl of rice for the birds, for the animals, and if you can feed somebody, and all of those charitable acts can be done. So it's one another day for us to just make sure that we do not carry forward any of the past bad karmas, and for us to make sure that we live creating and collecting a lot of good karmas, and then in the end we surrender to God and make sure that we go home safe and secure.
Right. I love that. Right. So I love that we get to, okay, sure, we've done what we've done in the past, but this is like the reset button day. And we're saying, okay, yeah, we've done that. We acknowledge it. And now I want to make this right. And by doing so, and as you have been hearing, folks, charity, donation to charity, helping people is a huge way to offset any bad karma that you've done. And Dr. Pillai has said this so many times as well. The highest thing we can do is to help someone in need. In fact, there's a blessing that happens from that being, whether it be an animal or a person that we're helping who really needs our help. That blessing comes to us too. So that's a way of transmuting our karmas, perhaps negative things that we've done in the past. So this is a day where we get to start new and feel this refreshing kind of reawakening that can happen on this day. So we're so grateful to these divine beings in this celestial time period that gives us this great opportunity. Now, would you say are there any other things we should do on this day? So, and just so everyone is aware, on the calendar that I have, the full moon is showing it starts on May 6th in the US, the full moon starts, and then goes into the May 7th. So depending on where you are, your time zone and whatnot is when you would participate. Chitra does not overlap in the US, it doesn't look like, with the full moon, and that's okay. I think we're really just, we're targeting the full moon, correct, Prem Raja, where if Chitra's not overlapping?
Absolutely, that's what we would be doing. And that also changes with regards to the temples in India. In the earlier days, people who lived near the seashore, they used to practice the full moon. And then people who lived in the insides, you know, among the forests or, you know, among the cities and towns, they used to practice the nakshatra. And so it used to be different. And so, but, you know, commonly we can take for us, for, you know, for the temples, the priests, and all of those big ceremonies, they have their own calendar and their practice. But for us common people, we can absolutely take the full moon as the day, and we can celebrate with the full moon. And here in Mauritius, we're celebrating it on the 7th of May.
Okay. Great.
Yeah, great.
And that's typically, and that's, it says that on the Astrobed calendar as well, even though the full moon starts the day before, the celebration is on the 7th, because when you wake up and when the sun rises, it's still the full moon, and then that's considered the energy for the full day. So tell us what to do. So what are your recommendations to do on this day?
I just went through some of the services that Astrobed and Pillai Center are offering. You know, some of the fire rituals to Chitra Gupta. And then one very interesting thing that I saw there was the Kathopanishad Parayanam. There's a beautiful chanting that is done. As a Vedic priest, I'd be more interested in that. For common people, I would suggest the rituals and the other things. But I think as a priest and you know, as an enthusiast of these kind of spiritual studies, I'd be more interested in the Kathopanishad. And here we have a beautiful picture of the god of death, Lord Yama, you know, facing a child whose name is Nachiketa or Nachiketas. And this child, at such a young age, he challenged his father. And, you know, the father was doing a lot of charities. And then he asked his father, why do you give only the things that you don't want in your life as charity? Don't I belong to you? You know, do you imagine you're giving me as a charity? To whom would you give me away? And he says, the god of death. And he says, okay. And then he goes to the god of death, Lord Yama, and he waits in front of his house for 3 days. And then because the Atithi, you know, the guests are believed to be gods themselves, Yama seeks his forgiveness and says that, you know, I've let you wait 3 days in front of my house. So I'll give you 3 boons. And this kid, you know, this being the most wise, he asks, you know, fulfillment, or, you know, fulfillment of lives and everything for himself and his father and, you know, the people that he knows of. The second one, he wants to know how to perform a fire ritual from the god of death himself. And so the god of death reveals how to perform a fire ritual depending upon, you know, the practice that you want to take. And the third question is about the self, about the Atma. And then that's when the conversation becomes more and more interesting. And I wish we had a discourse. I wish we had more people, you know, talking about that and giving some really beautiful insights about, you know, into the mind of God of Death himself, and how wise Nachiketa's questions are. But I think the chanting of that in itself will help people do, you know, realize a lot of things. And it's a beautiful tool for self-realization. And so that is the most important, intriguing service amongst all of them for me personally, Kathopanishad.
The chanting that you're mentioning on Pillai Center, the remedy page, is the chanting to this boy, correct?
Yeah, it's an Upanishad. So the Upanishad, you know, is the story of this happening.
I see. Okay. Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. And you had
that's one of the things. So what people should do, I'm sorry for interrupting. But you asked me, what should people do on this
Yes.
day? So whatever you're initiated with, don't forget to chant your initiated mantra, perform your rituals at house, use ghee lamps at house, offer things, do a lot of charities, offer things with your own hand, give out some food, some water to people. And then if you can make any donations, you can do that as well. And so there are, I wish we didn't live in a lockdown, so we could invite people for to perform rituals at our houses, but unfortunately we're still under a lockdown, and everybody's practicing beautiful medical guidelines for them to not spread this virus. So that's great, and so we're all embracing this act of self-realization. We're exploring more and more of the self now. So it's the best way for you to just light a lamp, meditate, chant the mantra that you're supposed to, do some charity that you can, smile around, stay healthy, and meditate. And if you I don't know how much access they have to all of these rituals, beautiful, amazing rituals. If you can participate in them.
Right. Great. Thank you so much. So yeah, so if anyone's interested, there's three different ways that you can participate, three different levels, I should say. And at the very least, you should be doing what Parmaj just said, making sure you're chanting, giving to charity. And then, my input on this is how you would reflect upon any wrongs you may have done and how you really want to change. I personally feel like our appeal to God, especially during powerful times, is so very powerful, because this helps us to have more self-realization, self-awareness, as well as appeal to the divine to help us during a very a time when there's an opening, a celestial opening that allows us to have more access to divine grace during these periods. And that's what these power times are all about. That's why Dr. Pillai talks about how we should take advantage of these moments as they come. It is a difficult time right now in this period that we're in. So when we have these power times come around, how special that is to be able to use them and still continue to access that energy, because that hasn't changed, right? Nature hasn't changed. The gods, the beings who are available to us have not changed. We're changing. The earth, in terms of our activity as humans, is changing. But as Dr. Pillai has been talking about, it's actually time to double, triple down on your prayers, on your connection to God. He said, literally, this is the time to go to God. And so as we're giving you more opportunities and ways to connect and time periods that are most powerful to connect, this is your time to go to God. And this is what is the most powerful thing you can be doing right now, is to be occupying your mind with prayer and faith and thoughts of positivity, and not towards whatever's negative on the news, negative from your neighbors, negative from your own past karmas that have been plaguing us. And this is what this day is about. This Chitra Purnima is about, when we get to get real on what we've done in the past and make a commitment to be doing and being different and better, and veering away from the negative things we're attracted to in the past. So this is on a global level. You know how we're as a consciousness, we've been kind of veering towards this fear, the pandemic, the scarcity, the problems with the economy. Everyone's focusing on that, getting more and more agitated. We get to choose, though, how our thoughts go. And this day signifies the really symbolizes how we get to say how it goes. We get to rewrite those Akashic records. We get to undo the deeds we've done in the past by doing good now, by changing and being in this moment and not letting that define us. So this is your opportunity. This is the full moon that's happening on May 6th and 7th, depending on where you are in the world. Do your prayers, give to charity, reflect, and be prayerful and mindful, and help others. Let's be kind and help each other out. There's some questions on chat I'm going to go to now. What are we to chant on this day? So Paramaja mentioned any other mantra that you're currently initiated into is good to chant. I'm recommending Shreem Brzee because Shreem Brzee is always good for full moons. Now, Paramaja, are there any other mantras that a lay person can chant for this particular day?
I'm sure every listener of this video, are going to be a Shreem Brzee enthusiast, or, they practice Shreem Brzee,
We hope so.
religiously. I'm sure, that's the best mantra. If you're listening to this, you're here to know more about Shreem Brzee, or, the more Shreem Brzee can help you
Right.
during this time. And so please chant Shreem Brzee.
Perfect. And also, folks, Shreem Brzee is significant, every day, but on full moons, as I mentioned earlier, and for this particular day, because it's about creating more positivity. The Brzee part can remove negativity, remove karma from your consciousness, and the Shreem Brzee together can be building up and be a creative new process. So it's an all around good one to be chanting and telling your friends about. We really are wanting to create an abundance revolution around the use of this mantra because it has helped so many people and will continue to help so many people. There's another question that says, will I get bad karma if I order this for someone that doesn't know I'm doing it on their behalf? Even if they don't care. So I don't know what Paramash would say about this. What my experience has been is that if you, and what Dr. Pillai said is, if you do remedies with your own hand for someone else and you're not a trained priest, you can be taking on negative karma from that. So you don't want to be chanting on someone else's behalf or doing some sort of ritual or remedy for them on their behalf by you doing it, because there is a karmic exchange that has to happen somehow. However, if you order a ritual for someone else and you pay for it, the exchange is happening in a way that the priest is trained to be taking on the karma and transmuting it and shifting things around energetically. So there isn't an impact on you. I wouldn't, just a personal note, like I wouldn't go crazy on trying to do too much for someone who is not aligned or not into it, but I would do a certain amount. Like, I would, like what I do, for example, is I do some remedies for my family. I pay for it, and it's just a way for me to just try and help maintain their kind of their goodness, like trying to maintain their well-being in a variety of ways. But I don't go crazy in terms of like spending exorbitant amounts or putting so much effort into that by trying to manipulate it. It's more of just like a little a token that I like to do to help support my loved ones. So I don't know if Paramraj, you have a different opinion on that, but that's my take on it.
You know what? Surprisingly, I do not. I agree with everything you said.
We agree on something.
Yeah, I absolutely. I really respect the fact that you said that. With so many years of experience with all of these rituals and the spirituality, I'm glad that people get to hear these things from you. It's absolutely true that a priest gets. What makes a priest perform a ritual? I mean, I don't want to take a lot of time, but what makes a priest eligible, or what gives him the eligibility to perform a ritual is that he's willing to take your karma. And that's why he has to practice the Gayatri Japa and a lot of things for him to just burn the karma that he takes from others. And so what you mentioned was perfect. You cannot go on performing rituals for others with your hand, you being a part of a ritual and doing things. But what you're doing by ordering something is just you're making a prayer. And so you're praying for someone, and there's nothing wrong with that. You're making a donation, you're making, you're praying for someone, and that's actually much more respected. And I truly respect the fact that you want to lend your help to someone. And I agree with everything you said, and that's beautifully said. And I hope that whoever they're praying for just loses all the enmity around them and all the negative things, and they respect the fact that there's a soul who actually wants to spend their hard-earned money for the benefit of theirs. And I hope
Right.
they
Yeah,
connect well.
definitely.
Yes.
Definitely. Super. Thank you. Any other questions? Just type them into the chat on YouTube. All right, so I'm going to do a quick kind of power time update for the next week because there's a lot actually going on. This is separate than what we're talking about here today. So today is the first day of May, which is great. And then we have the 11th moon on Sunday, which is a really good time for prosperity and to be calling upon Vishnu. Then we have a 13th moon coming, which is Pradosham, which is a time where you want to perform your own karma removal remedies. We won't get into all the details of that. Then we have Narasimha's birthday, which on the Astrobed calendar that I have, it is saying that it's May 5th. You'll want to check your locations. It's the 14th, I believe it's the 14th moon that overlaps with Swati. Is that correct, Paramaja?
Yes, goddess, I'm here. I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay, cool. All right. So that day on my calendar is May 5th. And that's a really beautiful day to connect with Narasimha. And I'm going to talk more about that actually on Sunday's live video that happens on Instagram and Facebook. So we'll be getting a little bit more into Narasimha. And then we have Chitra Purnima. And then that brings us into the end of the week. And then we end with Mother's Day, an opportunity on May 10th, an opportunity to honor the goddesses in our lives. So there's a quick little overview. It's a power-packed week next week. So we have a few opportunities to take advantage of to make the most of these times. Tune in Shreem Brzee official Facebook and Instagram on Sunday at 11 a.m. I'll be going over more about Narasimha, who he is, what you can do on his powerful day. And then this today's video was really to set us up for the full moon, which is happening next week. We did it far in advance so that you have enough time to prepare and know what's happening and know what's coming and watch replays. So Paramaja, do you have anything else that you'd like to say or in conclusion?
I just hope that this Chitra Purnami is, we mentioned a lot about Chitragupta, and but most of the Tamil community celebrates it for Muruga. And so it's a day for Muruga where a lot of people make offerings to him. They carry the kavadi and they make a lot of offerings to Muruga on that day. And so it's even in Mauritius, it's a Chittire kavadi. And so it's a huge celebration. And also for one great community in the Tamil, which is the Madurai community. So there, the king and queen of Madurai, Lord Shiva as Sundareshwara and goddess Parvati as Meenakshi, they get married on that day. And so it's a huge celebration. So the Chitra Purnami is a huge celebration filled with love, filled with happiness and joy. And I hope that during this pandemic, everybody experiences this energy and everybody, truly has a great time filled with joy, love, peace, and happiness. And may this be the beginning for all of the things, for all of the beautiful, positive things to just blossom. And may we all move as a civilization towards a more clear, towards a more passionate and loving, peaceful and successful group. And so that's the prayer. So let's all make an effort, and I'm sure, great things ahead.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And let's not forget, everyone, this is the beginning of the new year, the Tamil, the Vedic New Year. So we are in this new energy, and we're praying the whole world is seeing changes, opportunities to change and transform in this very great opportunity to do so. Thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you Paramaja for being here. We're so grateful to Babaji and all the teachings he's brought to Pillai Center and to the world and ways we get to engage in this more and more. So we wish you a fabulous week, and I'll see you next Friday here in the same location. And also I will be connecting with you on the Shreem Brzee official Instagram and Facebook, 11 a.m. Sundays and Wednesdays. Talk to you soon. Namaste.